welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to make an infused oil. The first thing you're going to need, of course, are dried herbs. I've got 13 different herbs here because I have a lot to make today. You are also going to need a jar for each individual one. So I've got 13 jars here, and I really prefer these plastic lids to using the flats for the infused oils. They do have a tendency to leak out just a little bit, and we'll talk more about that later. Also, you're going to want labels. Please put your labels on your lid. If you put them here on the side, you're going to find that it gets soaked up with oil and then you can't tell what's in the jar anymore. I also have a ton of avocado oil here. That is my preferred oil. It has a lot of good qualities for the skin. And you know, some people like to use olive oil, some people use grapeseed oil. Whatever you do, don't use cooking oil. And by cooking oil, I mean like Crisco or safflower oil, like those kinds of things. Don't use a low quality oil for something that is going to be used on your skin medicinally. Now let's get to the fun part, which is actually making the infused oils. I'm going to start with this container of parsley here. When I store my dried herbs, I put in little desiccant packs just to make sure that no moisture gets in there, because if these are not bone dry, they can potentially mold, and that renders them useless, both for eating and for medicine. Smells like parsley. Okay, so now that I have my jar, typically what you're gonna wanna do is fill your jar halfway full with the herb, and then all the way up to the neck of the jar with your avocado oil. You do not want to put it all the way to the tippy top, or you're going to find a lot of oil on the whatever surface you're putting them on later. It does seep out. I don't know how it works like that, because even if you don't fill it all the way to the top, you're going to have oil seepage. It does happen, it will happen, so just be prepared for it. Splashy. And we're gonna fill it all the way up to the neck of the jar. Okay, just like that. Put your lid on. And give it a really good shake. You wanna make sure that all of the herbs are completely coated with the oil. So if there's any stuck to the bottom, keep on shaking. And then you're going to want to label it. Whoa, oh my gosh, you guys. I'm a mess. This has the date and what's in it. So it's got parsley and avocado oil and the date. I'm gonna put that on top. And then we're gonna set it aside. I will tell you after we get all the rest of these done, I'm gonna tell you how long it's gonna sit in that jar and what we're going to do with it. Okay. I'm going to tell you what herbs I have that I'm working with today really quick, and then I'm going to mute myself and get all these done. So we have holy basil, savory, oregano, feverfew, chamomile, Russian tarragon, dandelion petals, lime balm, mallow, chickweed, purple dead nettle, and calendula. These are all the ones that I was out of. I do an inventory about every 6 months, make sure that I have enough to fulfill my orders. Okay. I'm gonna zip it and get through this, and when I'm done with that, I'm going to give you all the rest of the information you need to be successful making your own infused oils at home. That was super fast, you guys. Now I'm going to clean up my mess and we're going to talk about some very important things that we need to know about infused oils. Now that we have all 13 of the infused oils made, we want to take a look at them and see if any adjustments need to be made. For example, I splashed some avocado oil over here on top of these labels, so I'm going to need to redo those labels. If I leave it like this, that oil is going to seep through those labels until everything is illegible. And on the feverfew here, you can see that originally when I put it up, it was to here, but the feverfew soaked up quite a bit of the oil, so we need to add more. And we'll check through all of the other ones to see if anything else is looking a little low. So oregano's a little low. Get that one a little bit more. Okay, I think everybody else looks all right. I am going to replace these labels here, but I won't bore you with that. You guys know how to fill out a label. Let's see, other important information. These need to stay in a warm, dark place for 6 weeks. If it's 8 weeks, that's fine too. But I wouldn't really start using it before the 6 weeks. I use a large plastic tub. You can get it like Costco. And I put a seed mat in the bottom and I set it to 95 degrees or so. It never really quite gets that warm because it's super cold where I keep these. But it does stay warm, usually gets up to like 85, which is totally fine. It's the perfect warmth for these. It's going to infuse everything beautifully. After the 6 weeks is up, it will be time to strain these. I highly recommend that you invest in a jelly bag or 12. All of these will be ready to strain on the same day. And you don't have to do, if you do 13 at a time and 6 weeks comes along, you can just do, 4 a day or whatever until they're done. A couple of days extra of infusion, it's not gonna hurt anything at all. I use jelly bags to filter out, especially if you're doing something like a mullein that has those fine little hairs on them. I like to get all those out because you don't really want that stuff on your skin. Jelly bags work great for that. After the straining, you can put the leftover herbs onto your compost. And the oil you want to store in, I just store them in like a jar such as this, and I keep it in a cool, dark place. So it doesn't, once it's been infused, you don't have to keep it hot for the rest of its life. It's perfectly fine to keep it in a cool, dark place, and that will keep it good. These infused oils, they'll last at least 2 years. I recommend, I have so many different infused oils. I check them every time I make a new medicine and every time I do an inventory. So twice a year for an inventory, and then once a month for, making new batches of salves. You want to smell each one because if the oil for whatever reason goes off, you're gonna know. And when I get, so all of these are labeled with, January 29th, 2025, that's today. And the closer I get to 2 years, the less likely I'm going to continue to use one of these batches. And the reason why is because once I make a salve, it doesn't extend the life of the oil that you're using, right? So if you are making a salve to sell or to use for yourself or your family, you don't want something that's going to expire in like 6 months. You want something that's going to last a long time. So if this was getting up to, 2027, I'm not going to use this anymore. I'm going to replace all of the oil. And if I have any extra, I almost never have any extra left over before I make another batch. I just put that on my compost pile, and it goes the way of all things. I mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating. Do not make an infused oil with fresh plant material. It will mold. and you'll be sad. Make sure you dry it all the way bone dry before you infuse it in your oil. I will make sure to insert a picture of my bin with my seed mat so you can kind of have a visual of what that looks like. Keep in mind that these will leak small bits of oil, so wherever you do store them for the 6 weeks, just make sure you put something protective underneath it. I put mine right on top of the bare seed mat, and the seed mat is not going to get damaged with a couple of drops of oil. I do recommend that every few days you go into your bin and shake each one of these up. It's important that the herbs stay completely coated in oil. Also, at that point, you can just take a paper towel and clean up any little drips of oil that creep out of the top of these lids. And that, my friends, is how you make infused oils. If you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments. I get back to every single person who messages me because you guys are my community. If you're interested in trying out some of the goodies that I make with these infused oils, check out my Etsy shop. It's in the description, and there are tons of super effective and really nice medicinal salves for you to try out. I have even branched into lip balms. I am in love with them. We've got eucalyptus peppermint, we've got cherry, mango tangerine, cocoa peppermint, and next week, you guys, I'm going to make a whiskey vanilla, a cherry almond, a clary sage, and I'm gonna try a ginger. I'm not sure how the ginger is gonna turn out, and I feel like it's gonna be very warm on the lips. I will test it out on myself first before I recommend that you do it. So again, in the Etsy shop, you can check out my new lip balms, and I think I'm going to do a video for you on how I make lip balms because it is so easy. And maybe you want to make your own at home, you don't want to buy somebody else's stuff, and so I'm going to make sure that you know how to do it too for yourself. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye!